So I'd like to introduce you to our host, Mike Hook. Mike Hook is the VP of Sales at ChildcareCRM, and he's going to take us through who today's parents are and how your center can appeal more to their demographic. Mike, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brian. And for everybody here, we've got a good group today. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here, whether you're in the U.S., whether you're down in Australia, or anywhere else in the world. Very warm welcome here. So as Brian said, today is all about meeting today's parents where they're at. So the agenda, what we're going to run through is the building blocks for success report. So that is really the background of where this all came from, where this data is, and how our customers and the industry are reacting and using technology to help our people. Our key findings. So what did we find out through the report? Who are today's parents, and what are today's parents looking for in a child care center? So what is the building blocks for success report? This data is the data that we pulled intended to give insights into the industry, as well as compare how organizations are performing. So we went and we pulled and took data from 5 countries, 500 organizations, and over 4,000 locations. And what we found is that a strong online presence is essential for generating new leads and opportunities. So we had discussed that in a previous webinar. Hopefully you were able to attend, and this is the second one. If not, that was session number 1. The importance of completing tours promptly to keep your prospective families engaged. Texting being the best way to communicate with today's parents. So 2 and 3, you'll see some of that come up today, as well as integrating your technology stack to generate new leads, increasing efficiency, and reducing data entry and errors. So before we get into everything here today, we've got a little poll for everyone. And I'm going to go ahead and launch this right now. So what challenges are you facing today? So we'll give everyone some time to vote here and then be able to show the answers afterwards. All right, we got a couple of these starting to come in. Give it a little bit more time, make sure that everybody can get their vote in. A couple more of you still out there. All right, so we'll give it the 10-second counter here. All right, well, thank you for everyone who voted. We're going to go ahead and close it down, and I would like to share our results with everybody. So what challenges are you facing today? So number 1, 55% said you're not getting enough parent inquiries. Well, very timely for today. We'll talk about how to meet these parents where they are. You don't have enough time in the day to follow up with parents. So 1 and 2, I will tell you, we hear these all the time. Very, very common. So you guys are falling in the majority. You have trouble tracking new leads and knowing who to follow up with. So yes, once you get them in, how do you track them? And then no organized way to send emails and parents. So these are all really relevant, really top of mind for everybody here. And we'll make sure to touch on these as we go through this today. So how to get parent inquiries, meeting your parents where they're at so that they want to reach out to you. How do you respond to them? And how do you track all of them? So who are today's parents? First and foremost, they're millennials. So 80% of today's parents to children under 12 are millennials. This is a group and a population that grew up with technology. So taking a moment just to think about it, when was your first cell phone? When was your first email address? Now, the AOL dial-up internet, when you couldn't be on the house line, you had to sneak it in. The millennial parents who are coming to your centers, they grew up with this. So they came along during this age of the internet boom. And as a result, they're the first group of parents to really consume and use technologies day to day, right? They grew up with personal computers, grew up with computers in the house, grew up with computers at school. It's an expected technology in order to help them run their lives. So because these millennials grew up with the technology, what are they looking for? So they want to be hands-on, right? They want someone who's going to accommodate quick information, things at the tip of their fingers, and centers and owners who look to engage with them, right? So when we talk about engagement, this is lifelong access to information. So it's fast, it's relevant, and it's personalized. It's done on a mobile phone as well as email. So to ensure that your center stands out in today's digital fast-paced era, what are we seeing? You know, the top centers are being more accessible on the mobile devices. So phone first. Simplifying, streamlining the touring process, so giving parents the ability to actually reach out. Now, early in the poll, a lot of you said, right, the biggest group here said you were having trouble getting leads in the door and you were having trouble communicating and having time to follow up. So how are you streamlining these processes? How are you going mobile friendly first, so parents not only want to reach out to you, but so that you can make it easy to reach out to them? And then digitizing your registration forms as well. So we want to make sure that we can get the entire process in one spot online, meeting your parents where they're at. So one of the sayings here, we talk about text. So there's an app for that. You guys remember those commercials that came out? Everyone was saying, oh, there's an app for that. There's an app for that. So whether it's via an app, whether it's a mobile-friendly website, millennials are spending an average of 5.7 hours on their phone every day. 81% of email recipients prefer to open their emails on their mobile devices. So, you know, as you think about your day, how do you handle your day? How do you go about your day? How many times do you flip open your phone and pull up your email there? How often are you looking down, and maybe it's even for 10 seconds just to open something up, but that screen time is where these parents live at. It dominates the day-to-day, and it's what's taking up the most time and where it's the most visible. So for those of you out there who raised your hand and you said the number one thing that you're struggling with right now is getting parents in the door, well, we want to talk about generating more online leads. So 53% of all of our CRM users' leads in the past year came from web sources. So this is the first steps in parents finding out about you and your center. So there is a partner of ChildcareCRM, Winnie, and they're a marketplace listing service where parents would be able to find your center. So whether it's through a Winnie, other listing services like Kinside, Google, and your SEO, how visible is your center to parents? So when they go and type into All right. Well, sorry about that, everybody. There was a little technical sound difficulty. I think I'm back. Brian, could you give me a little nod if I'm all good to go again?
You're back and you're good to go.
All right. Well, thank you for that heads up again. Sorry about that, everyone. So I don't know exactly where I cut off, So what I will say is what we were talking about with generating more leads, meeting parents where they're at, they're going to search for things and they're going to go online first. That's how they grew up. They're used to doing searches online. And so you want to make sure, number one, how visible are you? How visible is your center? And then once parents find you, how do you capture that information? So if it's coming through a site like Winnie, how easy is it for a parent to go there and come directly to your center? If they do a Google search and your center pops up and a parent goes to your website, how easy is it for them to reach out to you? Knowing that they've done their research first. And then how do you make parents feel heard? So once a parent does reach out to you, how are you making sure that because they're used to these mobile phones, because they're used to getting emails, because they're used to responses quickly, that you get back to them right away? Well, it all comes down to really being here, consolidating this information. When you do find these parents, capture the information, get it to them, and be email, be mobile, and be quick. So automated responses are great. Task generation is also helpful as well to make sure that you're staying on top of every lead that comes in. So, all right. We've got another poll here for everybody. So how do you communicate with your prospective families? So let me make sure that I can pull this up really quickly. So again, we're going to give some time for everybody to answer this. How do you communicate with prospective families? All right, well, we'll give it about 10 more seconds here. We got the majority of the group, just a couple more left out there. We'll give you guys some time to respond. All right. So how do you communicate with prospective families? So number one, manual email messages from my computer email account. So by far and away, the biggest way that you guys, everybody out there is responding to parents. As you think about the manual emails, take a second to think, how long does it take you to send these emails out? How are you managing your inbox? Manual text messages from my or a staff member's phone. So a couple of people are sending text messages. That's awesome for those of you who are out there sending text messages. The two of you who are doing it, I'm sure manual, it can be a lot to manage, coming from email to phone calls to text messages in a lot of different spots. But I hope that you're seeing more engagement. We know millennials are using their phones a lot more as well. Automated and manual text through a software program. So a little bit more automated, helping leverage some technology there. And then same with the emails. So we've got the majority of the group here still doing things manual, but making that effort to reach out, a couple who are automated. So for those of you who are texting, prioritization of text communication. So 60% of millennials today prefer texting over email and phone to communicate with businesses. So we talked about it. Millennial parents, they grew up with technology. They grew up behind a computer screen. They grew up behind a phone. They're not walking to the end of the driveway to get a newspaper anymore. They're not walking down to a community center to get information or a flyer. It's all done behind a screen. And now with a text message, it's easier than ever to go back and forth. And it's the most common way. Your millennial parents, they're communicating with their friends by text message. They're not picking up the phone to have a call anymore. So everything's funneling in here, and it's become the preferred communication method. On average, as well. The highest leads convert 3.8 times as many individual text messages, 6.3 times as many group text messages. So for those who are texting out to groups, and some examples of this, if you've got a group of people who finished a tour, how are you reaching out to them? Is it one-on-one? Are you sending a group? When you're reaching out and following up, touching base with parents, are you doing it by text? Are you doing it by email? Are you doing it by phone? Are you using all of these methods together to really strengthen your engagement with those families? So we notice that the people who are engaging more, and the center directors who are engaging more, and those owners who are engaging more in the way that parents want to, are getting higher enrollments. So increasing text engagement. So, really, what is engagement? First and foremost, it could really be anything. It's about you reaching out, you seeing a parent seeing you too. So emojis have been proven to boost engagement and response rates, and they're a simple and easy way to add some personalization. They're fun, guys, and childcare is fun. Being a parent should be fun. It's not about just this rigidity anymore. Again, it's about communicating with people the way they communicate. So according to a HubSpot study, participants who were sent messages with emojis scored higher on memory than those who were sent messages without. I mean, let's think about why. It's an emotional thing. Like we said, they're fun. It's cool. You're sticking your tongue out at somebody. There's a wink face or a little halo, maybe a little party emoji, right? So all of these different things come together to give a really memorable experience to parents. And if a parent feels good when they're communicating with you, they're going to feel safe when they're communicating with you, which means that they're going to have a safe feeling when they're putting their child in that first day of care. So this same study also found that emojis can help increase open rates by up to 85%. That is a really, really big increase just by having an emoji, a smiley face that is still relatively, new in terms of the great scheme of communication, but it's really impactful as well. So compared to email, so we said text with emojis open high, but compared to email, open rates for text are as high as 98%. And on average, it takes 90 seconds for someone to respond to a text message. So for those of you out there who said you're either using a system to automate and send text, or for those of you who said you're sending out manual text, think about how fast that response rate is versus other types of areas. And for those of you who aren't texting yet, for those of you who are doing manual emails, or for those who are still doing primarily their communication by phone and playing the phone tag game a little bit, how long does it take you to get back and to hear from parents? And I think as we think about this for a moment, when we talk about the phones, the iPhones, I'm dialed in through mine right now. It's right here to my left. I'm sure the majority of the people out there, I hope you're paying attention to me, but maybe your phone's taking your attention away a little bit here and there too, because it buzzes. It lets you know you're here. You want to be that buzz when you engage with those families. And one of the ways that we can help do this as well, from engaging with your families, meeting them where they're at, is making your tour scheduling simple. So, with this, it's all about parents self-serving. So the theme of today, meeting parents where they're at, making it easy for parents to engage with you guys in your center. Well, because families are going online first to do their research about you, or they heard it from a friend and then they're going to your website. That's generally this first touch point for a family. Well, sometimes they just want to go and see when they're available. They've heard good things about you. They want to check it out. They don't want to have to call and schedule or email to schedule. So self-service when it comes to tour scheduling is one way of meeting millennial parents where they're at. And this is a big way. So something like this could tie into your calendar. So your time slots are open, giving you as a director, you as an owner, peace of mind to say, we'll be able to help parents sign up whenever they want, but it won't matter. Whatever time they pick, we know we're free because it's tied into the calendars that we already have. This is built to increase the likelihood of enrollment and decrease chances of no-shows. So when you book a tour automatically like this, when you set up and have this, we've got reminders, right? You should have reminders set up. And because these reminders are there, because parents can self-serve, because you're meeting them where they're at and they're ready to actually tour, Scheduling a tour within 24 hours of that initial inquiry will increase the likelihood of enrollment by 30%. So if a parent comes to your website and says, I'm ready, and selects a time, you get that tour, you're more likely to gain that enrollment. Same thing if you're texting a parent back and forth. So, I think one of the things here as well to think about is it's not just one component that drives this behavior. It's all of these components built together to help have a really strong presence online, strong communication method, quick responses, and it's up to date with how parents engage with you and how they'd like to engage with you. So next, we're going to go another poll here. So this is going to be our last one for the day, all around how you manage your forms. So when we talk about the registration forms, so this is going to be registration and parent enrollment. So we'll give a little bit more time here. All right, about 10 more seconds. We've almost got the full group. All right. So how do you manage and store your registration forms? So 50% of you guys had used software to digitize your forms. So excellent work for those of you who are using software. Great example of meeting parents where they're at. For those of you using paper forms and storing, 36%. This is also very common. Paper forms are still the most common way within our industry to capture forms and get enrollment paperwork. Using a Google Drive to store your forms, and then other. So digitize your registration forms. So paper processes cause pain. So when we think about it, an example I always like to use is when you go to the doctor today and you're going to check in and sign in. The majority of the time, they're pulling something up. You're filling out information on a computer before you check in. It's got all your information there ready to go. You're just checking things over. You're good. You're paying for a ticket. You pop online. You hop in there. That's done. Concert tickets, anything that you do that you would pay for, that you register, anywhere that you go and you really start putting in any information, your address, your name. It's mostly digital today. Very little paper and pen being filled out for this. And it can be daunting for some parents, right? So what does a paper process mean? Well, first and foremost, there can be delays in signing and return. So maybe I'm not so sure. Maybe I can fill this out. Maybe it's been misplaced somewhere and now they have to go try to find them on your website again or come back to fill them out. It could cause a poor customer experience. So especially with everybody working from home now being much more common. I don't know about everybody else out there, but I don't have a printer at home. So if I had to go and fill out or print off a form, if I was putting my child in care, well, I wouldn't have any way to do it. I'd have to either find a way to the office if that was open, go to a place like Kinko's or FedEx to print it out. So it's now putting the burden on me to go get these forms. And this could cause A, unnecessary costs for you, and also B, potential abandonment from the parents. So by digitizing your forms and prioritizing these digital forms being available on desktop and on mobile, You're making it easy for parents to do business with you. And you make them want to actually fill out this information. So it's going to be a quicker process. You've already done such a good job of communicating with them. So if you've, doing some of the things in this webinar already, if you've got new things that you want to work on, put those in place. This will complete that process. So that by the time that a family comes to you for day one, they're feeling really good about how you've communicated with them and about how you're going to take care of their child. So going back to that again, when it comes to organizing paper forms, almost 15% of printed documents are lost and 20% of documents are misfiled. So let's think about that. 15% of printed documents are lost. That means 15% of your parents who you hand a registration form to, or who raise their hand and are saying, I'm ready to enroll, could potentially be losing those documents, have to come back to you and draw out that process, lengthen it. 20% are misfiled. So if you have licensing coming in and you don't know where your forms are at, or that process takes a long time internally, well, that's putting burden on you as a director, on you as an owner. And these things all add up. So a one-off instance for this, not a big deal. Not great, but not a big deal. But when it starts compounding, when it increases over and over and over again, these small percentages make a really big impact to your business. So you guys have worked hard. So we've talked today when it comes to meeting parents where they're at. We've talked about getting online, going digital, helping parents find you, meeting them earlier in that journey for when they're searching for care. Whether it's 6 months pregnant or they move to a new city. So how are you meeting them where they're at? Having an online presence, using listing services and lead generation, being mobile first. And then once these parents come to you, how are you capturing those leads? Making sure that you're responding quickly with personalized information, letting them know that you're there and that you hear them right away. And then throughout the whole process, from that first time they reach out, all the way till they're making their decision, are you communicating the way that they want to communicate? Are you using text messages? Are you using emojis? Are you making an impact to them? Are you standing out from the other centers that they're looking at? It's very rare that people only look at one when there's so much available there when they do that first search. Are you sending out emails? Are you doing a combination of these things? So how are we meeting our parents? You worked really hard to get all the way up to this point. Now you've got your online forms. You're making the parents feel great, right? They've chosen you. You've got a great impression. And now we get to day one. So much work goes up to day one. But if you capture a family and you get them into your center and you've got that child from year one right away, well, now the retention play comes in. Now you want to have them re-enroll year after year after year until they age out and get into kindergarten. So you can streamline the pre and post enrollment with apps. So a lot of the management systems out there today have apps that will help you optimizing your communication with parents. So you could use a CRM for this. You could use a management system depending on the functionality and what they have available. You can share milestones in real time. Did they eat today? Did we change them? Did we go outside? Allowing parents to pay online. So making it easy for parents to sign up for recurring payments for their tuition. Set it, forget it, and then view any important documents. Are there all time to time? Can they go in there and view their payment history? Simple things too that make a really big impact. Can they do pickup and drop off remote? These things are becoming more and more commonplace now. And some of these trends that started in 2020, due to the circumstances in the environment that we've all lived through, they're not going anywhere moving forward. So the centers who adopt not only meeting parents up front to help get them into the enrolled state, get their children into the center, but who are making sure to leverage these technologies throughout the whole time a family's there, are the ones that are going to stand out. And they're the ones that are going to have families stay with them the whole time. And this right here is how we start to build wait lists. It's how we start to increase our conversion percentages, and it's how you build a great reputation within your community. Because you guys everybody out there are now speaking the language of your parents, and you're making it easy for them to do business for you, feeling safe with their children in your center. So some overview from today, some actionable points that we can take away. Take advantage of mobile advertising options, such as lead generation platforms or Google ads or Facebook ads. Simplify tour scheduling to speed up the enrollment process. So remember, within 24 hours, 30% higher likelihood to gain that enrollment. Prioritize text communications and use emojis to increase engagement and message open rates. Text first. Digitize your registration forms so parents can fill out forms wherever they are, whenever they want. So if you're using a platform that has all this, how easy is it for them to come and reach out to you and get those forms back? Eliminate the drop-off. Eliminate the need to print these forms out. Don't let the paperwork get lost. And then streamline the pre and post enrollment with applications that makes parents' lives even easier. So before we get into the Q&A here, if you are a current childcare CRM user, if you have any questions, if you need any support, please give us a call. Please send us an email. We also have the chat within the platform that you can reach out to. If you're a prospect, if you are not currently using childcare CRM and you're interested in our CRM platform, if you're interested in the online registration, this is the number that you can call. You can also email us at sales@childcarecrm.com. And we would love to talk to you more, answer any specific questions you have, and show you a demo of our products and services. So with that, I'm going to stop the screen share and we will open it up to any questions. So Brian, I'll turn it back to you.
Let's see. Hey. So I'm back with it. Let's see. I see one question here. Are you seeing more parents self-scheduling tours online these days?
We are seeing more parents. So what we noticed is that online inquiries from both a self-scheduled tour and an outreach have both increased on a year-over-year basis for the last couple of years consecutively. So when we talk about online, yes, that's web forms, but also by having that parent scheduled tours, those have increased. And we're seeing phone inquiries go down about 9 to 12% year over year for the last 3 years. So not only are the parent scheduled tours going up, but we're seeing the phone communications go down as that first outreach point from parents to the center. Great question.
All right, another one just came in. What management systems does childcare CRM integrate with?
So management systems, absolutely. So we integrate with the majority of the major accounting systems out there. So ProCare, Kangaroo Time, Kidsoft down in Australia. You've got Quick Kids and Explore as well. There's the Easy Care. So we've listed some of the big ones. We integrate with almost all the softwares out there as well. And there are only a few that right now we don't have set up. We also integrate to that token as well. As I mentioned with Winnie earlier, we integrate with a lot of the lead generation platforms too. So we talk about the management systems on the back end. That's great once someone enrolls. But meeting these parents where they're at, if you're spending that money and you're spending the time to meet parents where they're at, you can actually go ahead and have those leads integrate and come right into childcare CRM, which will then trigger off our automated texts and emails to then go let those parents quickly know that you've heard them and you'll be reaching out.
That's a great point, Mike. I see another question that kind of relates to that. Do you have to pay for lead generation platforms like Winnie?
So we have a partnership with Winnie where if you want to go claim your center, which everybody here could go claim their center right now, and you can do that at no cost. If you use childcare CRM and Winnie and claim your center, part of that partnership that we have with them, we'll put a contact us button right there. So you can either have parents go from Winnie and direct them to your website, or you can have it go and have parents fill out a form to go right into childcare CRM from Winnie. The same thing is true with Kinside. They've got a platform that you can have that drops right into ChildcareCRM. All of the lead generation platforms that I'm talking about today, the Winnies, the Kinsides, they do have paid models. So you don't have to pay for them, but they do have a paid model as well that'll help you guys boost your online presence even further.
All right. Do we see any more questions coming in? Let's see. All right. I see one that just came in. How long does it take to get set up with ChildcareCRM?
Yeah, so with ChildcareCRM, we can get you set up in anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks, depending on how much customization you want. So there are 2 different versions of ChildcareCRM. We've got our Essential platform. That's great for 1 to 2 center owners. You can have everything you need. It's ready to go, up and running. We've got all the templates and automated workflows, as well as task assignment that you'll need built into the system. Setup for that could be as quick as a couple of days. We've also got our CRM Plus version. It's a more robust platform, a lot of customizable rules, a lot of detailed analytics and reporting, and then also some other features like comprehensive drip campaigns, right? So if you send out a group email to someone and there are different responses, it will trigger different actions with the system. Some of it being you need to make a call, some of it being, obviously bounced emails will unsubscribe, really any way you set it up. That takes a little bit longer. We can still get it set up fairly quickly, but again, it depends on how much customization you would really like in that. So 3 days to 3 weeks.
Yeah, and speaking of customization, there's another question here that asks if we are able to offer custom email and text templates.
So yes, so with ChildcareCRM, everyone has, as soon as you get the system, you get our preloaded templates. So there's about 26 of them that come ready to go. You can customize and create all your own templates, and there's unlimited uploads. Now with our templates, the emails and the text, especially with the emails, they're all HTML emails. So you can have those great rich images in there, all of your own branding. So it's more than just a way for you to reach out to parents with a quick message. It's a way for you guys to continue to grow your brand within the community. So always customizable from both a text, a picture, and also a frequency standpoint. So if you want to go ahead and maybe someone finishes a tour and you want to set up a handful of different emails or text messages or calls for your director to be scheduled based on how many days after the tour, you can do things like that as well. So again, it's about quick responses, scheduling so that you don't forget it. I know at the beginning of the call, the number 2 highest ranked answer was, we just don't have enough time to communicate with our families. Well, ChildcareCRM, one of the things that we do is we help you communicate through automation. We help you centralize text and centralize emails so that it's easy to send these things out. And all of this is available through our mobile app. So you could be an owner or a center director. Maybe you're subbing in for a teacher. Maybe you guys have increased your enrollment and you don't quite have someone yet to go teach, but you still have to respond to parents. Well, hop on your phone, do the task advancement, and then it's always there on your desktop as well.
And so speaking of that, how much time can CRM save a user?
Absolutely. So our best users, right? So the top users who have a really good CRM in place, they go to it, they spend 30 minutes a day for all their communication and enrollment needs within ChildcareCRM. So how much time can I save you, or how much time can ChildcareCRM save you? I think I would ask you to think about, well, how many enrollments are you not able to follow up with? So we're actually going to be able to give you the same amount of time, communicate with more people. If you're spending all your time on enrollments, think about this, you can cut that down to just 30 minutes from the communication standpoint. And now you as a center director and owner can go back to running the business, getting involved with the curricula in the community. So your days are busy. I don't know about saving time so much as cutting down on the time that you have to spend following up and reaching out to parents so that you can focus on the things that got you into childcare in the first place, spending time with the teachers and the kids.
Love it. Love it. Love it. These are some great questions from the audience. Do we have any more? Does anybody have any additional questions?
So one thing I will mention as well really quickly as far as the integrations go, the integrations are built, the integrations are set up. If there are any customers out there who are using ChildcareCRM who maybe aren't on the integration yet, it could have been because we didn't automatically transfer everybody over onto them. So if you're using a Quick Kids, if you're using a ProCare, if you've got KidSoft, if you've got Kangaroo Time, or any of the other management systems and you're interested in an integration, you're a current customer of ours, please reach out, support@childcarecrm.com, or call that phone number, and we'll make sure to get you guys set up on that.
Great. And I just want to take the opportunity too to say that this is, to remind everyone, you did say this at the beginning, this is the second webinar in a series of webinars related to our key findings in our Building Blocks for Success report. So, any more questions? Mike, do you have anything else that you want to close us off with before we wrap it up?
Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming here. I know we talked a lot about a couple different things today here. And if you guys do want any more information, right, if you were unable to attend the first webinar, please feel free to reach out. I know we've got resources for that. If you want to get the benchmark survey, please reach out. Like Brian said, we'll send the recording, but we want to talk to you about your business. So whether these are things you're doing today partially and not everything, or if you're not doing any of these things at all, please let us know. We're happy to talk to you. We've got people ready who are standing by. And if you're not ready yet, we really appreciate you joining us here today as well. And we hope that everybody can come to webinar number 3.